Hello again, and welcome back to the Pregame Network podcast, episode 73, the only gaming news show on the internet that is not afraid to offend anybody. I'm never getting rid of that slogan. um, this is Dan, joined by my bestest bud Anthony, and we are going to be talking about video game news and what we've been playing and different opinions and X, Y, and Z, etc., stuff and things. Yes.
Hey.
As per usual, we'll go over what we've been playing and then move into what we want to talk about. So, I mean, it's a pretty short list for me again this week. My staples have been staples as usual. Space Marine, Dark Tide, Finals, and Borderlands are pretty much the only things that I've been playing this past week. Dark Tide got a pretty massive content update, or like major title update. They did a big balance pass on a bunch of stuff, added new weapons, new maps. It's just been a good time. Dark Tide is just peak Warhammer fun. So we'll never not have fun with that game. We played like 3 hours of the finals like just before recording. So
yes,
that's I dude, I'm telling you, that revolver for the heavy is so good. I probably my favorite weapon in the game.
You've definitely gotten a bit more comfortable, and even though you are still prone to fits of mania, we will call it,
yes.
you do, and your luck hasn't changed all that much, and you still burst into flames quite frequently. You have been digging that revolver, and I can get behind my friend having fun.
I don't understand how much I actually burst into flames. Like it's I have no words, Anthony. It happens every match, every play session, no matter what it is. You could be standing next to me. I burst into flames, and I take you down with me from no fault of my own.
I put some decent thought into this, and I'm just like, it's because, the frag kind of sucks, so I guess people default to the pyro grenade. But, even, there are days where it's me, Harrison, and Luke or Nick, and we're playing just to kill some time, and I don't see nearly as much fire as when I'm with you. So, I don't get it. Some kind of curse was placed on you. I really don't know what to say. Nothing else explains what happens earlier where you died. I go to throw you to safety so someone else can revive you, and a pyro grenade lands on your trophy, sending you back to me. That's when I was like, full believer, you're cursed or something. I couldn't tell you.
Listen, yeah, that was something, man. Even Harrison is like, I don't know what's going on here, but you're attracting something. You're just a shit magnet. Even in Modern Warfare 2, like the original Modern Warfare 2, I was just a fucking predator missile magnet. It would always come for me, and every time the announcer in the match would enemy predator missile inbound, every single time you're like, Dan, get away from me. I don't want to be anywhere near you.
Shoo, go away.
Oh my god, it doesn't stop ever. But such is my lot in life, I guess. But beyond that, I beat Borderlands. Did I talked about that last week, so I'll skip that. Yeah, things have definitely picked up a little bit with Borderlands 4 after the main quest line, so that's been fun. But beyond that, that's really it. I'm waiting for the Killing Floor 3 rearmament update to come out. They said it was supposed to come out sometime in October, but they didn't really give any more details beyond that. But when we last talked about Killing Floor, I think I checked the player numbers on Steam DB, and it was not good. It was like 500 people. It was basically dead. So I hope that game doesn't fizzle out, but hoping that major update breathes some life into it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing.
All right. I mean, for me, a bulk of it has been the same. I've been doing, the stuff in the gacha games, the fighting games, same rotations before, no drastic changes. There's only 2 games I've played that are brand new this week. One of them is 2XKO. You ever hear of that? I might have mentioned it once. I'm not sure if you've heard about it.
2XKO?
Yes.
Maybe once or twice.
Yeah, I might have when I might have brought it up once when I was talking about future fighting game prospects for the community and where the community was heading with it. 2XKO is basically Riot's fighting game. It's
Okay.
been in development for about 9 years. It takes place in the League of Legends universe. It is the culmination of after, like, before, around that ninth year time frame, or maybe a little bit before it, there was a game called Rising Thunder. It was basically a robot fighting game, and the key thing with that fighting game was that it was a very simple one. It was like light, medium, heavy, and all specials were on one or two different buttons. One to three buttons, I think it was. It's been a while. And it was basically like the first major attempt of making a different game in that style that caught on. I'm sure there were experiments before, but it was like it was an experimental little casual title, I guess I could say. And Riot bought that developer, and Rising Thunder went away. And now, years later, through the development, it was teased as it was called Project L, it's called 2XKO, it went in closed beta, pretty soon it's going to be an open beta, and then it's going to roll into early access. So I finally got a chance to try it, played a little bit with Harrison. It's a 2v2 fighter.
Okay.
It still has the very basic light, medium, heavy that I mentioned before, a lot of universal mechanics. Specials are performed with a single button press. You don't need to memorize the different inputs. That I'm against that. And all I have to say is, for months to years, I was basically saying that when this fighting game hits, it's gonna do something interesting to the fighting game community and the pool of fighting game players, because I do think it is the first casual fighter that's probably going to stick with a lot of people, and regardless of whether it does or not, Riot has a strategy laid out where, like, they're just going to keep supporting it year over year over year for as long as the fighting game genre remains at least somewhat profitable. Or not, I shouldn't say profitable, because fighting games really aren't that profitable, but as long as it's somewhat in the mainstream, Riot will probably stick it out with 2XKO. The word on the street, and from what I've played on it, is it is really easy to get into. It's got great movement, and they may not sound like a lot, but fighting game movement is one of those things that all the developers have kind of curtailed to make slower or a little laggy in order to kind of bridge the gap between moderate and casual and professional player. So the movement feels really good. It almost feels like a Smash game when you actually start using, like, the dash macro, where you just press a button to dash forward and back. Basically, between my experience with it, which is, it's fun, but I think that it has kind of a lower skill cap, I guess you could say, where, like, if you watch 2XKO, whether you know a lot about the game or if you're, someone who's into fighting games or not, you're going to start noticing that very similar combo strings and moves are going to come out all the time, even more so with the fact that the game's only going to launch with 10 characters. So I guess my personal takeaway on it is it's easy, dumb fun. It's nothing I would spend money on. It is free to play, so I would never need to spend money on it. I think it's going to rock the casual scene in fighting games just because of the fact that it's easy to get into.
In a good or a bad way?
In probably a bad way for the fighting game community, in a good way for me, because I want to see the community hurt a little bit. I do think it's going to swallow up a casual sector. Like, the same group of people that, Capcom and Namco tried dumbing down their games for, Arc System Works basically cratered their existing legacy franchises to cater to. All these different companies tried every which way to casualize fighting games. And it doesn't work for them because they'll never be casual enough without abandoning their core DNA, and this game, 2XKO, was basically built on a casual experiment from 10 years ago, and they just have a blank slate. And the biggest thing for me is that since it is 2v2, there's a team factor there that'll keep people coming back, because a lot of casuals, they can't do 1v1 stuff. They get angry, they get tilted, they drop the game. 2v2, that small factor, because it's required, whether you're playing by yourself and controlling two characters or going online and grouping up with a random or whatever, being able to blame someone else, I cannot stress this enough, will mentally, like, keep people on board. I'm not going to say it's going to be like with all these changes, and I'm not saying sense. But it's really a culmination of all these things. I also do find it very disgusting that like the first alpha test had like a fully working monetization section ready. Like, the store is at the ready. Yeah, there's only 10 fucking characters to play as, and they're only doing like 5 characters a year, which I guess is good for the current standards. We used to be doing 8, but whatever. But basically they're ready to monetize the hell out of this, and I think they're going to net casuals in a way no other fighting game can. And just I can't stress enough, like, all the different things culminating together is so big, but that 2v2 factor is really going to keep a lot of players in there. And I've seen a couple reactions from quote-unquote professional players, you know, whatever you think of those players nowadays, but some of them are just like, oh man, I can't wait to, you know, get in there. There's a lot of there's a lot of players that kind of make careers off of jumping into games when they're brand new, mopping up, and then leaving when it gets too tough. And there's a bunch of players that are very casual to begin with, and that's probably where they'll live. A lot of them are ready for some of these older games that they're finally admitting suck, because most of these games suck now. They're ready to move on to the next big thing. Although a few I've seen have said basically what I'm saying, where it's just like, it's going to get repetitive at top level. It really is. There's going to be some interesting gameplay stuff, but it's really, like, at the end of the day, you're going to start seeing repeats very early. Like, the gameplay is just not there to carry an interesting variation across skill levels. So, see what happens. But, I mean, for what it's worth, it's fun. It's just, it's not something I would probably anticipate putting hundreds and hundreds of hours into like I do other fighting games. But, so.
Okay, fair enough.
The only other thing I played, it's brand new, and this one is quite a bit easier to explain and less, you know, obtuse with talking about fighting game communities and shit like that. The other game I played, Dan, is Silent Hill F.
Yes.
Yes.
That was just released, right?
Yeah, that came out 3 days ago. I've done one playthrough so far. For all our games are
elevator review. So,
to kind of like lay things out, you may or may not remember that of all the projects they mentioned way back when they said, oh, we're gonna give Silent Hill another shot, and they announced like 5 things. I said that this was the one I had the most excitement for, right?
Right. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yes. And honestly, the whole thing just fucking confuses me. Not the story. I get that. It's just its existence confuses me.
Its very existence.
Yes. The goal, if I understand the pre-release interviews correctly, was to approach the series from a different angle. In case you don't know, or if whoever doesn't know, Silent Hill was the Japanese take on Western horror. It maintained that rather cleanly for the first 4 games, right? After that, the Westerners took the series, basically, after their initial run, what it turned into was Westerners taking the series while pretending they were still making the Japanese take on Western horror and not being able to help themselves along the way. And that basically put the series in the grave. Now, with the new wave of Silent Hill games, the takeaway from the higher-ups wasn't, we probably shouldn't have outsourced this top-class series to people who don't get it and then let them make 5 games. Their takeaway was that it was too Western. So now, the only real new entry for the series ends up being Silent Hill F, and their goal was, what if we went 100% Japanese with this one? And I'm just like, okay.
What if?
I'll hear you out here. It was written by a guy. I always harped on this because it's a big deal to me. It's written by this guy Rukishi07. He's the writer behind multiple visual novels and different visual novel series. The first of which was I guess you could call it a sleeper hit. Horror series with a story that had people analyzing and speculating over different theories and interpretations. You know, it's very eerie, very creepy, you know, straight up horror. So on a surface level, seems like a perfect fit. They got Akira Yamaoka, the series composer, to come back and do some music. Seemed like everything was lining up, right? I was so excited by these 2 things where I'm just like, oh, it's not a mainline game. They're trying their own thing. They're going in a different direction, you know, but it's going back to the Japanese creators, that I neglected to see who was developing the game primarily.
Uh-oh.
Neobards was developing this game, and Neobards is basically what Japanese companies have been using to outsource nearly fucking everything for a long time. Primarily Capcom. Capcom hired Neobards to do a bunch of collections for Devil May Cry and Resident Evil, and those Resident Evil multiplayer tie-ins. Most recently, they did the Dead Rising Deluxe remaster. They did work on the Resident Evil 7 remake games, and I gotta say, like, it's not just them, but they are like they specialize in doing like this weird Japanese take on Western AAA games. Like, there's a lot of carryover in how these games look and feel, and it just doesn't feel right, which is kind of what I'm getting at. Because basically, Silent Hill F, having played it, leading up to this, everyone's like, oh, it looks like Dark Souls. I'm like, let's give it a chance. And then, like, I play it, and it does kind of just feel like crappy Dark Souls. Like, I don't know why I'm dodging. I don't know why I have a stamina meter. I don't know why I have weapon durability. The environments, all the things that are interesting about the game, the story, the music, it's all kind of reined in by the cheap studio that they put it out to. Like, I'm trying to have fun. I'm trying to give it credit. But at the end of the day, the reason why I say it confuses me is it brings back things that didn't work from older Silent Hills and still don't work here, with shit like weapon durability and on-screen HUD and indicators and shit like that. You bring this writer who is known for this amazing visual novel series in that niche horror space, and he has gone on record saying that if he died tomorrow, he would be be flattered if people saw Silent Hill F as his swan song. And I'm just like, whoa, that's a lot. But the game is just like this over the top, hit you over the head with a hammer feminist story, which, you know, I know I was talking to you beforehand. I'm like, oh, it's very weird for you to say that in a pre-interview, right? It's even weirder when you sit down and play the game and they get to that, like, right off the bat. Like, the pacing's all over the place. They're starting it off with, like, oh, you know, you have this girl very clearly abused by her father. You know, there's a whole lot of, like, oh, you know, women are oppressed. You know, they have all these stereotypes they have to put up with. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I playing? And, like, it's one thing. Like, here's the thing. You can tell this story. I wouldn't mind it. Don't hit me over the head with it. I could play it. It's fine. It's just, this is like a serviceable 6.5 game. I know I'm not talking too much about the story. I don't want to spoil it because, like, some of the story bits are like the best parts of this game, like just the way it's presented to you. But it's just like, it's this weird, watered down, like, it's just so weird. I can't really adequately describe it. It doesn't feel like a survival horror game. It does feel like an action game. I wasn't scared at any point. The environments weren't creepy or eerie. I don't know, man. It's hard to describe. Like, a Silent Hill game, to describe in all the ways that it's wrong would take a while, but, like, just even as a game itself, it just wasn't that great. So I guess if you ask me for my elevator review without, you know, sitting here and jamming you up for like 30 minutes, I would just say that it was disappointing. Every aspect of, like, the writer and the composer, which I said, I'm like, oh, this is great, they're coming back. They didn't deliver their best, I don't think. They outsourced this whole fucking thing to the same guys that ruined Dead Rising and hold back Final Fantasy VII and did all these crappy Resident Evil experiments. It's not optimized well. It doesn't run that great. It has some weird fucking issue where it's like running at low resolutions and then it's upscaled. I don't fucking know. And above all else, I guess my biggest problem with it, aside from all those other things, is that it has the same fucking issues that got Silent Hill in the first place. It's just another fucking game that's all about personal trauma and the town, which isn't even Silent Hill at this point, representing that and you having to work through it, which is a trope they have fucking beaten to death since the 5th Silent Hill game on the 360. It's just like, I don't understand how, after, you know, handing it off to the Western guys, they fucking bury your series by doing all the wrong things for 5 games. You come back and you're one step out of your comfort zone, like new entry, just makes the same fucking mistakes, but now it's even more unmoored from Silent Hill. It doesn't take place in Silent Hill. There's no fucking, you know, radio or flashlight, staples of the series. Like, the only things this has to do with Silent Hill is, like, there's fog There's multiple endings. You pick up a pipe and fight with it at a certain point. It is just such a confusing, disappointing mess, but it's like it's kind of okay. 6.5. That's what I would give it. I'm gonna play through it again because it's one of those games that gives you more on repeat. Maybe I'll have more to say about it next week, but it was just disappointing, and I do think that, you know, I don't know if I would be fine if the series took another nap after this, because you guys just proved you couldn't do it. But they're remaking the first one. They gave it to the fucking Bloober Team guys again, you know. And it's just, you know, as a kind of refresher, back near the end of 2022, Konami announced 5 Silent Hill projects. They had the Silent Hill 2 remake. Gave it to the guys that got memed in this position. They had Silent Hill Townfall, which we still have heard nothing about, and like we didn't hear anything about it when they announced the game, and we haven't heard anything about it since, outside of the fact that it's Annapurna Interactive, so we already know where that's gonna fucking go. They announced a new film, but they gave it to the guy that fucked up the first film. I don't know why. Then they announced Silent Hill Ascension, and that... Whew, I don't know if you heard anything about Silent Hill Ascension. It is 10 hours of interactive nonsense. It looks like it was made in fucking Gmod, and it sucks. And, like, the user experience was crap. It's like they had an unsecured server doing the group things. People were running around with racial slurs to their name and just hacking the battle pass. This fucking interactive movie game had a battle pass. But it was okay because J.J. Abrams, his company, had something to do with it, so people just kind of like, yeah, it was fine, it was great, whatever. And then lastly, you had this. You had fucking Silent Hill F, and it disappointed me, so I don't... Just,
Nice.
It was just frustrating all around to see them learn absolutely nothing, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. So, Silent Hill F... No bueno, or okay, just
yes,
less than bueno.
It is early. Like I said, I'm gonna play it one more time. I'm gonna sit on it, and maybe I'll have more to say about it. But yeah, no bueno.
Okay, that's a shame. I apologize, friend.
Yeah, it's all good. Shit happens. We've been taking hits for like a decade.
Shit happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so time to jump into the news proper. I'm gonna kind of dive into what I think is probably going to be a pretty big story, like not even just for gaming, but just for like the business world overall, in the same vein of Microsoft buying up Activision, or of Activision Blizzard King.
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear of the rumor that EA is on the verge of getting bought out for $50 billion?
I did hear about that, yes.
That is preposterous. Anyway, so that is the rumor floating around right now. Funnily enough, it is Jared Kushner's firm who is in talks to buy EA. They're apparently working with the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund and Silver Lake to buy EA,
yes,
who is probably one of the 2 largest video game publishers in existence. Probably next to Activision, honestly. So
yeah,
that's pretty crazy. I don't think anything is confirmed yet. It's just like, oh, they're talking about it, they're in negotiations or whatever the case may be. Yes. But that seems to be a thing that might be actually happening.
Yeah. So I had 2 reactions to this, much like there were 2 different parts of the story. There was like the EA potentially going private again, being bought out, and then there was the story that you had just shared about Jared Kushner and the Saudis moving in to potentially be the ones to do it, right? My first reaction was that EA going private would be very, very interesting. Because, you know,
finish your thought. I'll.
So because EA has this notorious and terrible reputation, and they've kind of been like that all of their life, but a lot of the newer nonsense and a lot of the, you know, latter half of the nonsense was caused by shareholder influence and meddling. So it is potentially a good move for the creatives underneath EA if they were to go private, because while they would still have to deal with so much bullshit in EA proper, you would have that that leverage of shareholders being gone. So that was my first reaction for that first part of the news.
Okay. Second reaction, or was that it?
So well, what were you gonna say before? Because when I start yapping, I'm gonna be yapping.
Yeah. So my first reaction was really more along the lines of like, holy shit, like not
it's a lot of
necessarily
money.
because of the yeah, that was the main reason. It was just like the sheer scale of the purchase. Like that's
Yeah.
what shocked me the most when Microsoft bought ZeniMax for what did I say, 7 billion at the time. That was like pretty earth-shattering.
Mhm.
Now fast forward what, 5 years, something like that, 4 years. Jared Kushner's firm is apparently going to buy EA for 50 billion. It's
Mhm.
just like I can't even fathom that amount of money. My second thought was, okay, this might actually be a good thing for the games under EA's banner, solely for the fact of like they're not going to solely be chasing uh, metrics like across the board, like just make number go up. Like maybe they're actually going to try to make a worthwhile product and return to the same caliber of games that people like us or people in our age group kind of grew up with, like Star
Mhm.
Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, the original Battlefields. Army of Two was a big one for me. Uh, let's see, what else? But those are just some that come off the top of my head immediately.
Yeah.
But that if they're not solely beholden to shareholders and meeting certain prospects in their own privately, then I feel like that could potentially be a positive thing, but it could also be a negative thing. What if the direction that they want to go is just like completely ass backwards and not in any of the consumer's interest, which is very possible also.
Mhm.
But they might go that way because it makes money, even though the way that they are handling their business now of just chasing that almighty dollar, yeah, it makes them money, but the games mostly are suffocated by either ridiculous creative decisions or uh, crushing monetization practices. So those were my initial gut
Mhm.
reactions to hearing this. I'm going to call it a rumor for right now. I don't really
Mhm.
consider that. I don't consider anything concrete in this story, but that yeah, that was my thought to it. So anything you'd like
Yeah.
to reply to with that?
So the only other thing to really consider about this is the Saudi angle, because you know we the Saudi's current position in kind of the gaming world and the crown prince at the head of it is something that we've talked about a handful of times. But so basically, I there's a couple questions I have regardless of whether this is a rumor or not. I'm like, oh, you know, how did Kushner get involved? I'm just like, oh, he probably knows him. You know, the Saudis and the Trump extended family are kind of like buddy buddy when it comes to business dealings because of the direction that Saudi Arabia is currently trending with
Uh-huh.
just cultural stuff. But basically, this is plausible to me from that angle because it would be part of something they've been doing since the late 2010s called Vision 2030. You ever hear about that?
No,
Okay.
no, I haven't.
So basically, it's advertised outwardly as them trying to diversify out of oil and promote privatization.
Okay.
Basically, it's part of the main reason why, like you've heard me mention them before, because they're making a lot of moves in esports, particularly with the fighting game stuff. I brought them up plenty of times.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do think that it's that those two incentives of like getting out of oil or being able to do more than just oil and all that other stuff. I think that's something they definitely want out of it. But I do think it also has to do more with like an image power play. I think they're going to be spending a
Mm.
lot of money, not just to make more money in the long run, but also I do think a big chunk of it is on the world stage looking friendlier. And I think by the time 2030 rolls around, they will own a large chunk of the gaming sector, be it esports or different publishers and different developers. And then I think it's going to flatline. It'll be like almost like a bubble bursting. That only really the esports scene will feel like the esports scene will stop getting free handouts for a while. But yeah, no, I find it plausible. Is basically what I think is what I'm getting at, really.
Okay.
But it would
Yeah,
be it would be an interesting step for them.
it's just a crazy, crazy, crazy acquisition.
Mm.
And I think it's mostly fueled by what you just said of the Saudis trying to diversify their overall income methods as opposed to just being in oil. I mean, they
Yeah,
have more money than they know what to do with, obviously. So,
of course.
yeah, that's I don't know. It's interesting. There's really not much more to comment on because it's just this just came out like yesterday or something like that. So
Yeah.
and no one knows how much validity there is to this. So I am very intrigued to see where this goes. I don't have any stake in this, but I just other than the fact that I play games that are published by EA. But yeah, it definitely more of the interesting developments to happen in recent memory in the gaming world.
Yeah, it's interesting because once again, it's like you mentioned with EA, it's a big deal, but it's like I would be interested to see EA private again just to see what kind of policies change,
how they go, how they do things.
And then on the other side, I'm always a little interested to see when the Saudis buy just a little bit more, because number one, it pisses a lot of people off because of the because of the particular reason, and the other thing because say what you will about them, and this isn't a reason you should not go head over heels for any particular reason if you have, you know, a bone to pick or a moral quandary with them, but there is a large contingent of people who like it when countries like Saudi Arabia get involved, because typically in those companies, when the more control they have or the more money they put into it, there's less modern day bullshit in them. So it would be it's always interesting to see like, oh, what's going on behind the curtain, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. Let's see what else we got on the smaller side of things. I mean, that was easily the most substantive thing that I wanted to bring up, just because it's just the sheer scale of it, obviously.
Oh, of course.
You remember FBC, just to switch gears entirely, you remember FBC Firebreak, yes?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so apparently Remedy is pushing out a big update that's coming out tomorrow, being Monday, the September 29th. And the headline that I found from PC Gamer reads as follows: Remedy's bold gambit to save FBC Firebreak arrives on Monday in the form of a massive update that aims to quote, improve everything about the underwhelming co-op shooter. Now, I didn't read too much of this article. I kind of just skimmed. I don't really know what exactly they're adding, but I will say that in our brief time with FBC Firebreak, I was not impressed. I really wasn't. It just kind of seemed like another run-of-the-mill co-op shooter. That being said, I did like several different things about the game. One being the objective variation of the game. I mean, it being set in the Control universe, that's neither here nor there for me. I'm not like in love with the art style or the overall setting. It's fine. I don't really feel one way or the other about it. But I being as big of a Destiny fan as I once was, and being as active in that community as I was, and just enjoying co-op PvE shooters, I did like the overall structure of the game and like the different ways that you and your squad had to tackle whatever objective that was put in front of you. So we'll see what happens tomorrow when they push out this update. My personal opinion of what's going to happen is I still think this game is just going to die. I don't think anybody cares about it. I think they did next to no marketing. Two, I don't think Control or the quote-unquote Remedyverse has the staying power that a game like this needs. And three, the gunplay was pretty bad. I can overlook a lot of things, but when like you're a co-op PvE shooter and all you're doing, well, not everything, but the vast majority of the time, like you're just shooting your gun at whatever enemy. If that moment-to-moment gameplay doesn't feel very satisfying, then no one is gonna stick around. And I don't know. I don't think they're gonna be overhauling like the way the game plays and feels, but I just don't. I don't see any scenario in which this game ends up finding like its own little niche community for. So yeah, I don't really have much faith, but again, I guess we'll see what happens, and I'll touch on this again next week once I see the actual result of this. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they haven't pulled the plug yet, to be perfectly honest with you. It's just another example of like a live service game that is just fucking DOA. Like no one asked for this. No one no one asked for this. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
it's
my
tricky.
initial
I
thought
mean,
on it.
it was one of those games that started out as like a little experiment from the dev team, if I remember correctly, right? That was it, and it's just like I don't know.
Yeah, they're putzing around with what they could do in the engine.
Yeah, and it was just such a lackluster offering, you know, from the get that it's just like not a good first impression, you know. I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it either. Again, like the best thing that I could say about it is that the variation of objectives and settings in the game, probably the best thing about it. Like that mission where you have to like scrub all the post-it notes from all over the office room or the office building, like that was pretty cool. Like, you know, they would obstruct your vision. These big post-it monsters would come and chase you and fight you, and I don't know. I got a kick out of that one in particular, but everything else it was fine. The game was pretty janky. I think that's the worst part about it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a thing. Comes out tomorrow. We'll see how it lands. Again, I don't really have much faith. I don't think it's gonna do what Remedy is hoping that this update is gonna do. I just don't think that the game has enough of an interested following to come back from the brink of death. To be honest. So that is a thing that is happening, and we will see how it plays out. Okay, so let's see what else we got. You posted something in the news channel about Destiny Rising. It's generated
yes.
9 million in revenue since it launched. Now, you're gonna have to educate me a little bit on this because I am not well versed in my gacha games, and I have not played very much of Destiny Rising for a multitude of reasons. But is that a lot of money for like a new gacha game that's been out for what, like a month now, a couple weeks?
I mean that's pretty good by any metric. I'll be honest. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say it's raking in the same amount of money as like some of the other ones I've mentioned that I've been playing. I mean, so the bar is rather high, but I mainly listed that out as surprising in general, just because like.
Well, I think one of the few reasons that people are as interested in Destiny Rising as they are is because the whole Destiny 2 scenario, which I'm actually going to touch on in a little bit, is so dire that like the core Destiny fan base, myself included, we just want like new Destiny stuff, and a better Destiny offering. So I think that's probably where the majority of their player base is coming from. But yeah, I mean, you posted this thing; it's earned 9 million in revenue. I don't know if that's a lot for a mobile game. I've never been into mobile games.
I guess you could call it modest. The thing is, these mobile games, they fluctuate so wildly. It really, like, it's almost, you're fishing for whales, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like that one guy who played Diablo Immortal and like spent hundreds of thousands on his own.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
Like, you know, it's I don't know how much Destiny Rising costs to make. I
have no idea.
I would assume it's somewhere around 90 million, right?
I have almost completely checked out of the Destiny sphere verse, whatever.
So I've never been entirely clear on the expectations for mobile free-to-play and gacha games. Like, live service is a bit easier to track because if they don't get traction, they die really quickly. But something like, you know, Destiny Rising or Girls Frontline or Zenless Zone Zero, it's like the cost for them is loaded up front because developing new content for it is normally very cost effective. So I would only imagine, I think 9 million is pretty reasonable, especially as we see it siphon more of the player base from Destiny 2. It's less about how good that initial number is and how much they continue making, I guess. But I would say, like I said, I think the word would be modest.
Okay,
probably the best
fair.
word for it.
Sticking in the same lane with Destiny, there's a couple things. There's two things that I want to talk about. First of which, you actually brought to my attention first, was that Bungie kind of blacklisted a handful of countries this past week.
Yeah.
So Russia was the biggest one by far, but there was a bunch of other Middle Eastern countries that also got hit with this same error, where according to, so you go to log in and you sign in and you get hit with this error message. I think it's the TAPR error, TAPR. error message, which is essentially Bungie code for cannot connect to servers. Now, I did a little bit of research on this, and according to the Bungie forums, where all the main discourse about this was happening, is people wanted to figure out like what the fuck is going on trying to play Destiny. I can't log in. It's been a week. Can't really figure out why. The Bungie team or some Bungie community representative went on this forum and just said Destiny is not available in countries that are, that it's prohibited by law or like due to something, some legal reason. But that's where they left it. They didn't give any explanation on what law they couldn't get around or get past. They didn't elaborate at all. They just said Destiny is unavailable in locations that are prohibited by law. That's it. Like, that's all they said.
I see.
And yeah, from what I can see, from what I can find, is they have not elaborated on this. They just like posted and ghosted, and then that was all they said on the matter, which is fucking crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
And this kind of leads me into my other point about Destiny that I wanted to talk about. And I forgive me if I've said this in the past, and let me know if I have, but Bungie is in a place where they are just not able to do a single fucking thing correctly. And it's showing more and more with each passing day. I don't really play Destiny anymore. Actually, I just checked on my Steam profile the last time I even booted the game up, and it was July 31st. Like, that's a long time for me to go without even logging in or checking to see what's going on or anything like that. And I just, like, the game, I've said what I said about, like, the changes to the fundamental systems of the game, which I still think are good, but I think that Bungie doesn't know the right way to implement it because they keep on making these changes and then reverting them and then making more changes and then reverting those because the community is just on fire right now, and it's been on fire for a while now. And like I said, Bungie is in a place where they just can't seem to do a single goddamn thing correctly, and now the game is just blacklisted in several countries with basically no explanation. They're issuing full refunds for this, by the way, too. So which means they know what's going on. Like, at the very least, they know why they pulled the plug, and by law they have to offer refunds for a product that people can't use if they've actually paid money for. So they know what's happening, but they've just opted to not elaborate on what's actually going on, which is so scummy. Like, I can't even put it into words. And so like that's like half of the second thing that I wanted to talk about. So like that's 50% of the second thing. And when I say that the community is on fire, I really mean it. In the past week alone, several prominent Destiny content creators that I have followed for years, that have been with the game since D1, since the beginning of D1, are walking away. And it's basically like, oh god. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the name Datto. Does that ring any bells?
I haven't heard of any of the names. If any of the names you throw at me, I'm probably not going to hear, but I have heard basically what you're saying, where it's almost like a cascading thing, which is kind of what you need with personalities, because they're all kind of entrenched in a way where they're like, they got to stay with the game because that's their namesake. So once you start losing, once it starts to trickle, it very quickly snowballs. Right.
So like the general consensus has been, I can't keep on doing this. I'm not interested. Nothing about the game has me interested right now. I'm not going to be playing until Renegades comes out, which is the Star Wars themed expansion that's supposed to be hitting in like 2.5 months. That is like the overall consensus of what's going on right now. And these are the content creators that have massive followings that are just opting to walk away for the time being. I've never seen this happen before, and I've been following Destiny since literally the D1 alpha. The worst that this game has ever been was Curse of Osiris, which came out, I think, 2017, and Bungie literally said, like, things got so bad they didn't know if they were going to have to close the doors within like 2 weeks or something. And then they came out with Forsaken, and that just revitalized the game to an unprecedented level. But now where we are now, obviously I don't know what's going on behind the scenes at Bungie, but where we are now from like a morale standpoint is way worse than where we were at in Curse of Osiris in 2017. It has just been one blunder after the next, and nobody gives a shit about or nobody that's like, no prominent voice within the community really cares about what is going on within the Destiny like ecosystem. And I actually I talked to my buddy about this last night, and you know, because I was watching a video at the time and he asked about it, and he asked like what's going on with Destiny. I'm like, it's actually really painful to watch, because I still keep up with the news of the game because it was such a big part of my life for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it's it's genuinely like disheartening to watch one of my favorite games of all time die a slow and truly agonizing death, like day by day.
Yeah.
And like, I know how you feel about the game, and that's fine. I respect that, and I'm not looking for a snarky comment, and I don't think you'll kick me while I'm down, so to speak. But
be a bit
like,
crass at a funeral like this.
Yeah, like the Destiny IP, like it is genuinely, honestly dying, like in a very slow and painful way. And I don't know, and I know I've said this ad nauseum in the past, I don't know how they're going to dig themselves out of this. Renegades does look semi-interesting to me. I am a big Star Wars fan, but not like the new age Star Wars stuff. I can't stand what Disney has done with the property. But I'm still I've already paid for the year, right? And I'm not getting that money back. So I'm at least gonna jump into Renegades and just to see what's going on and how I like it. But it doesn't erase the fact that I've got no clan, no dedicated player, no dedicated fire team to play with. So it's like, yeah, I'll jump back in just to check it out. But like, what am I going to be doing? Like, I don't really want to play that game solo anymore. And I did for so many years. So it's really sad. It's very disheartening to see what this game has become. And the only reason that this game is in the state that it's in my opinion, is because of Marathon. Like, they pulled so many resources off of the Destiny team to go work on Marathon, and then the project lead for Marathon, Christopher Barrett, who was responsible for some of the best Destiny expansions that we've ever gotten, was like indicted and fired for fucking sexual harassment. Like, it's imploding. Like, everything is just going south.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the Destiny stuff that I wanted to talk about. I'm sure there'll be more bullshit to talk about next week, but this game is like, it's really, really dying, and it's as such a longtime fan, it is very painful to watch. Like, just from an emotional, like, nostalgic standpoint, like, what game do you care about enough that you still keep up with even though you might not play it? Like, do you even have one in the back of your mind that's still active right now?
I can't really think of any that like have that same hook, like there's
Okay.
different I'm more of a franchise guy. I can't think of the last major live service game that still has my hooks. The closest would be Final Fantasy 14, but that kind of, it's just like I could never really find. So I like you mentioned, you don't have a clan anymore. I never really had like a full group to do all the content. Like, I would do opening content with Joe or Tom, right? And that's like enough to get you through, like, oh, you play the story on your own, and then you reach like an instanced event that you would have to do, and I would just be like, oh, were you guys in the story? Or I'll wait, and we would do certain bits together. But it's like the post-launch stuff, the extracurricular stuff, the grindy stuff. I haven't had anything like that since, I guess, World of Warcraft, back when I played that regularly. Wow. Yeah, it's just, I mean, don't get me wrong, it has its pros and its cons. I kind of wish I did have something like that to kind of go back to, but, I'm perfectly fine staying in my lane with different franchises or playing, I guess, EOL games in the fighting game area that I do. I mean, maybe Street Fighter, but it's not burning me quite the way you've been burned by Destiny.
Right. I mean, and the ironic part is I still talk to a handful of people that I used to play Destiny with avidly, and we're all just playing Borderlands 4. Like, we just naturally moved on to the next thing that scratches relatively the same itch. And and I even asked them about, like, are you guys gonna check out Renegades when it comes out? And on it, like, most of them, no, I think all of them were like, no, we're pretty much done. I'm like, okay, that's fair. Like, what am I gonna say? Like, I'm not gonna try to convince anybody at this point.
Of course.
So yeah, it's sad in a way, but I did make some friends out of it, so that's cool. And it is what it is. Would I like to see them come back from the jaws of death? Absolutely. Do I think it's gonna happen? At this point, looking real fucking bleak, dude. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. And I don't really plan on going back to Destiny until Renegades. Like, Battlefield comes out in 2 weeks, or no, well, yeah, 1 week from this coming Friday. So about 2 weeks. Like, I plan on diving headfirst into that. I'm really looking forward to Battlefield, which actually leads me to my next point.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw, but Battlefield Studios rather, they just put out a live action Battlefield trailer for the launch of the game. Did you see this at all?
I did. Yeah. I saw it. I didn't watch it fully, but I did see like the clips. I watched it, muted and whatnot.
I thought it was hilarious, mainly because it was pretty obvious that they were taking shots at Call of Duty. And I say that because, do you remember the old ad campaign for
yeah, like the noob and the vet and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like all the live action stuff.
Yeah, I trust me. Even though I didn't sit through the entire thing. I knew that's exactly what they were aping off of.
Right, but it was like, it's so fucking funny because they actually got like relatively well-known actors. The biggest one being Zac Efron, and like, oh, Zac Efron, he's the assault. Like, this guy, he's the medic. This other guy is recon. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But then, they walk out onto this bridge. They all fucking rack their rifles and everything, and like, okay, we're here for one reason and one reason only. And a fucking Hellfire missile just comes out of nowhere and just blows them all up. And a random group of no-name soldiers runs in and is like, okay, let's get this shit done. And like, that's when the trailer kicks off. It was perfect. It was exactly the marketing strategy that Battlefield needs to market this fucking game, because nobody wants like these stupid bonkers crazy skins for Battlefield. Everyone just wants to be this no-name cool looking soldier on the battlefield that has a role and a job to do, and that is exactly what the trailer portrayed. I thought it was perfect. It was the biggest middle finger to Call of Duty in the funniest way possible. And I just, it tickled me. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay, it's fair.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll talk about, because this is I'm reaching the end of my news rope here. Actually, it does have what to do with COD, and I posted this right as we started recording. But a senior Treyarch developer said that he'd be dead lying if he claimed that he wasn't worried about series fatigue with Black Ops 7. Like, duh.
Yeah, it's really, you would need to have a certain level of lacking self-awareness to not feel that. I think that's what most of the guys feel or know or understand, and they either don't care, can't say anything, or don't want to say anything. Yeah. So I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny, although I will say I'm not on the hype train whatsoever for Black Ops 7. I'm gonna play it because I'm gonna get it free with Game Pass. There's no reason not to try it. I will say that one of my more favorite CODs is Black Ops 2, and this just seems to be the spiritual successor to Black Ops 2. And for that reason and that reason only, I am the least bit interested when this game comes out. And again, it's no sweat off my back. I'll download it from Game Pass. I'll play it for like 20, 30 hours, put it down, and then, probably wait for the next COD. I don't know. So that's, yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, anything else you got to talk about? Because that was the last thing that I did. I mean, did you catch anything from Tokyo Game Show or the State of Play?
Oh,
any of it?
There were a couple things. Ghost of Yotei, it just looks like more Ghost of Tsushima, which is fine. I actually really enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm not going to be able to play that for like the next 2 years because I don't have a PlayStation. I have to wait for them to port it to PC. There was something else that I saw at the State of Play that caught my eye, but it is escaping me right now.
What did it
That's
look like?
bothering me. I want to say it was a first-person shooter, but hold on. Can you talk about something? I'm gonna find it.
I mean, all I was gonna say is that there wasn't really much that caught my eye. I honestly, this is the first time in a while because, like, I was watching him just like, yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. You know, there were a few like remasters where I'm just like, these look worse than the original. We finally got to look at Marvel's Wolverine, and I'm just like, you know, people were gassing this up. It's just, oh, the alpha footage that leaked, it's not as bad as it looks, and then it just kind of looks like a dime a dozen game. There was a sequel to some niche roguelike called Let It Die. I'm like, I wasn't expecting that. Marvel Flight Simulator's going to the PlayStation. What do you got?
I got it. Wolverine.
Okay.
Wolverine actually looked really cool in my opinion. They look like they're actually doing the character justice. It looks so brutal, and I'm very excited for that. Again, I don't own a PlayStation, so I'm not gonna be able to play it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna be missing much. I'll be honest. I mean, it's like, I do think, like, listen, and this isn't a slight against you or anyone who will probably end up enjoying it, but it's like, you know, like your first thing is like, oh, you're doing the character justice. You know, it looks very brutal. That's pretty much what they want to sell the game on. But at the end of the day, it's just going to be like an open world, by the numbers superhero game that, aside from the lack of swinging, will play similar to Spider-Man, which played similar to Arkham. It's still going to be like, you know, mash and attack to do a combo, occasionally dodge, counter, and all that kind of stuff. And I think we talked about this once from just like, listen, there's nothing wrong with that slot being there, but it's like that slot being there, and then at the same time you have all the other modern day bullshit going on behind the scenes with the developers. It's just like, I can't get excited for it, you know?
The only reason I wouldn't even say excited, like, I just think it looks really cool. Maybe I'm a little bit excited, but just the way that we didn't see any gameplay, so I really can't even comment on that. The only thing that like really made me interested in it was the fact that they obviously went the extra mile to make the character of Logan or Wolverine like extremely brutal. They didn't pull the punches on any gore or anything like that. Like, that's what looked cool to me. Hopefully it won't be like a super paint by the numbers action game. Like, well, I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed Spider-Man for what it was worth.
Everything I've seen about the development of this game leads me to believe it's going to be the worst parts of like the background stuff in Spider-Man 2, and that doesn't lead, like, aside from my own disdain for people that act that way, like, my main thing is that, like, I don't trust like the content that these people are going to be putting into it, because you have to remember, like, this is the same studio that has developers that basically say, you know, remember when the first Spider-Man came out and Spider-Man 2 was coming out, they're just like, oh, you know, there are people that don't like the MJ sections and they don't like the Miles sections where you walk around, and you had that one guy saying, well, we just got to give it to you in small increments to see that, you know, even though you don't like it, you'll be more accepting to it. And it's like, those same people are still working there, and the formula is going to be the same, only this time, instead of swinging around, you'll essentially be you remember the Catwoman segments from Arkham City?
Yes.
You'll basically be going around like that. Like, where it's like, you do like minor quick time events to climb up walls from specific points, and you can slide down them any which way you want, and then the gameplay will be very by the numbers. I'm sure, again, I think that this kind of template game making that some studios are therefore will appeal to some people, and I would even be able to get on board with some of it, but it's just like, at the end of the day, I don't like, brutal actions aside, you gotta remember, of the three things that I mentioned to you once a while ago when I was talking about censorship and sensibilities and shit like that, right? You have violence, you have sex, and you have androgyny, and those are the three things that censors get kind of skittish of, and people who are developing things will either lean into or lean away from or self-censor, right? Violence is the one that we don't have any problems with. Like, if they want something to be violent, they will just do it. So, like, I'm in a way, I'm kind of with you, where I'm just like, oh, they look, it looks like they got the brutalness of some of the actions down, right? I can give them credit for that. I'm not going to shit on them like needlessly, but like, I'm worried about literally everything else. Like I don't know about everything I've heard about the leaks from a year ago were only like confirmed with what I saw. So like I have little to no confidence in this, right?
All right, that's fair. I mean, again, like we know nothing. We've yet to see gameplay. It's a bunch of very intentionally plucked little snippets of the game that Insomniac wants us to see, and that's it. It's the same. Yeah. The guy who's playing Logan is the same guy who played Spartacus in the Star series, which was actually a great show. So, I mean, that's another redeeming quality. But yeah, beyond the fact that it's like deliciously brutal, I know nothing about it. I have no other reason to be excited for it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we'll know more about that. Like I said, I think I pretty much know what we're getting into based on the leaks and what we saw from the showing. But we'll see what happens. You know, this is just going to be another, thing that, picks up as we see more showings. Like I kind of said, like most of the events didn't have anything to show. I think the Deus Ex remaster looks god awful, like really bad. Like it's actually funny that like the thing that stuck out the most to me from these events is really just how bad this remaster of Deus Ex looks. So there's that.
Okay.
But there was one other thing that was shown at TGS which caught my eye, and it's been in the news for multiple reasons, and I guess that's where we'll end it, right? Okay. I mentioned a while ago, I'll mention it again, Ananta got shown off. And everybody was describing this as anime GTA from the different trailers that we saw, and then it had the Spider-Man swinging, and we finally got a new look at a couple things, and we've seen
it was like a 15-minute long gameplay video.
Yes, and we saw some gameplay, and I think it's hysterical because it is pissing so many people off that the Chinese company, these Chinese companies who are notorious for just stealing shit, apparently stole more shit. Like it steals, a bunch of animations from Spider-Man or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't really give a shit. Spider-Man 2 is gay and it sucked, whatever. And so basically we got our look at the gameplay, and I will lead with one major negative. I can't stand the dubs that these companies put out there. The dubs sound atrocious, but the gameplay wise, it's like it's a mixture of Grand Theft Auto. It's got like really grounded combat in a way I wasn't expecting, where like there's environmental pieces where you can like almost like Sifu in a way, or like Sleeping Dogs or Yakuza, like somewhere in between those games. Like you can do like hand-to-hand combat and shit. Like, okay, that's neat. The main character has something that is literally just ripping off the symbiote suit from Spider-Man 2, whereas like black tendrils come out and break shit. I'm like, that's gonna piss so many people off, and then it did. And basically, like, I'm a little underwhelmed at some of the other gameplay segments just because some of them lack the weight that I wanted to see. But at the end of the day, it's free. They also announced, and this is major for the gacha element of it, because we knew it was a gacha, all characters are going to be free, and the gacha is purely about cosmetics because you can customize these characters. And that's going to be, that probably doesn't mean much to you, but that is pretty major. Okay. But I guess what we really saw from this is like just how much it copies from other games. Like it has the Grand Theft Auto 5 character switching, where like when you choose a different character, it zooms out a top down and then zooms back in top down, and the other character's doing something else on the map, and you kind of get introduced to it. You play as like these cops, so you can just walk up to people and like accost them or arrest them. You can interact with them like you did in Spider-Man. There's just so much small shit ripped from a bunch of different games, and I kind of love how shameless it is, because at the end of the day, I'm not fucking paying for it, and it pisses off all the people who eat all that other shit up. However, in this poll of me, there's something that was cast against me and made me a little bit upset. Because while I was sitting there going, oh, the gameplay is just about what I was expecting, maybe even a little bit more. Oh, the character's going to be free. You don't have to roll none. You just get them. I'm like, oh, that's great. Oh, you can customize your characters. That looks cool. And I think the gunplay looks decent. I think the driving looks okay. The swinging looks fun. All this kind of stuff. And then it, like, cold splash of water hit me in the face. I'm not talking about the fucking dubbing or the localization, because there's stuff in there to deal with too, right? This game is 250 gigabytes.
What the fuck?
Exactly what I said. I'm just like, no.
Even with that expansion card, get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here.
Oh my god, I was just like, fuck. It's just like I wasn't expecting a golden age or something. I probably gushed about it a bit more in that one episode where we talked about gacha and shit like that. I'm still interested to try it and play it, but goddamn, 250 gigabytes. That's a lot for your free-to-play asset flip from other companies.
Yeah, that's wild.
That is wild. But I am, other than that, everything looks a-okay aside from the localization and shit like that. But that's just something we're still working our way through.
250 gigs? Get fucked.
Yeah,
no way.
That's wild. Wild.
Yeah, no, just no. Nothing's worth that.
Yeah.
Insane. Oh god.
But yeah, that was pretty much everything there was to say about those events, man. Whole lot of nothing. No major announcements. It was really just like a sparse showing, and because of the way these companies like doing things, it's like Capcom had their shit again split up across 3 different events. They had their own showing, Capcom Presents, which is really just Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, and Street Fighter. Pragmata, once again, they showed it off. I had to go to some fucking obtuse stream. It wasn't even at TGS or this other Capcom event, so I don't know. These companies just love doing stupid shit like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but kind of disappointing all around, but oh well.
All right. Well, good as the place as any to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Well, if you're still stuck around, thank you for listening. This is episode 73 of the Pregame Network podcast, and we will be back next week to talk about whatever else happens in the world of gaming. So, on that note, thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.